Hello, everybody, and a very warm welcome back from wherever part of the world you are joining us. And we are back for race 2, and this one it is. It is at the Fuji International Speedway. We are here in Japan. Fuji International Speedway is gonna be a ride, is gonna be a driver's drive for the final time around here. And once again, as race 1, we were focused on our championship leaders. We'll get back to that later. Let's have a look at the race start. So need to qualifies on pole. Remember, qualifying session was for race 1 and race 2 this weekend. So race P2, it is Ryan Cooper who gets 7 points for qualifying after he got P2 in the previous race. So brilliantly done from him as well. But we'll currently focus on the Drivers' Championship fighters. And at the end of the race, we will overview everything and what exactly happened in these last 2 rounds and then overall championship as well. So need on pole position, Ryan completing out the front row in P2. And on the third row, with Monte Carlos in P4, followed by GT in P5, RLD in P6, and his championship rival is in P7, and plenty. P8 for Page, P9 for Kane, Smoke in P10, Empty Net for P11, C Jones in P12, Lissandro in P13, Wolf Club in P14. So look at this then. After how race 1 panned out, coming into this race, it was, at least into this round, after the end of round 1, it was Plenty who would have had 325 points with the double point system. GT would have had 293. So with that, the points deficit should have been 32 in fact. 32 points separating the two championship fighters. But with the qualifying points already, as we know the results, those points get implemented. P7, Plenty would get 2 points for his P7 and P5 for GT. He would get 4 points for that 5th place finish, and that overall would make it to 327 points to Plenty and 297 to GT, but still 30 points separate the two drivers. 30 points will be needed for anybody, for at least per GT to score over Plenty to finish. So at the moment, at least on top of my head, what I could realize is if GT finishes in P3, he would get 30 points. But then the thing is that Plenty doesn't score any points at all. So, for example, if here and there it is, we'll get to know, because both of them were not as competitive as they have been throughout the season. So let's not waste any further time and get into this straight away. The lights are already out and the track is hot as we are ready to go racing here at the Fuji International Speedway. It's 5 lights out and it's a brilliant start for Ryan Cooper, and Nitu has almost stalled at the start but still gets a push from behind and heading towards turn when he's going to be leading. Ryan Cooper will have the inside line. There's multiple drivers absolutely sound. The inside goes car. Meanwhile, Ryan Cooper's going to try and get back on the track and stay meanwhile without making any contact. RLD in P3, he's got a brilliant start as well. Monte Carlos in P4, who had a very quiet race in the previous round. Already our championship leader is in P5, Plenty. Brilliant start from him as he gets round the outside of his teammate and is going to beat through. There's a couple of cars going absolutely wide as we're in there. Meanwhile, Ryan Cooper, it should be, or no, in fact it is Ryan Cooper. He goes absolutely wide and he's got his car unstable and he's not having it at all, and he would have been absolutely pushing and that would have caused such a problem. But look at that, RLD and Ryan are already going at it. The championship fight might just be between a couple of other drivers, but these two are at it. And remember, Ryan's he He might be not in the fight tonight, but still he does have an opportunity to take second place though, because he might not win, but if he does better job than GT, he can get that second place, which he so far has done. Nitu might have went into the gravel as well, meanwhile RLD and Monty has now jumped up. Ryan as well, who's going to be side by side with Plenty. Plenty's got a penalty and he'll need to slow down to the penalty area, and with that he's going to be losing a couple of positions, and that will not only help Page to get past him, Kane will get past him as well, along with Wolf down in P8 and GT in P9. They're almost 3 wide, these guys, along with Lizandro heading towards turn 1. GT's going to be on the inside line of Wolf, as Wolf is almost going to close the door on GT and make a little bit of a contract, as Plenty at the moment is out of the points, but remember he has a 30-point lead coming into this round. So that was a brilliant start. A couple of drivers are still fighting for it and going after it, as Wolf has brilliantly raced in race 1. He's going for it in race 2 as well, as absolutely wide goes GT. He has absolutely misjudged the corner, as Wolf has now made a mistake as well, but that is going to be problems, as Numpty's in P11. Plenty has got past him in P9, as he's got past Lizandro as well, as Plenty currently shows in P10, but these guys are all fighting at it. Meanwhile, GT and Plenty are also going to be going at it. They're going to be side by side almost for a moment, and indeed they will be, as Plenty's just going to get past him, and he's got in ahead of his championship rival, and so far that will see him lead this championship, rather extend this lead which he already has. Will Plenty in P8 at the moment, P9 for GT. Remember, GT needs to finish over 30 points ahead of Plenty, at least coming into this round, that is, even to win the championship. Lizandro is right behind GT as well. Lizandro heading towards turn 1, might find a fancy move on the inside line. He might try and get past him. Will he get past him though? As he just backs out of it just yet, he might try and go for it now, which he doesn't. Eventually GT in P9 right behind Plenty now, so the pressure is going to be on. Already 3 laps in, out of 16. The fight seems to spice it up. Page and Smoke at the moment in P6 and 7 so far. So that is Kane in P5 at the moment, who won race 1, ladies and gentlemen. He scored over 15 points in that first round at Laguna Seca. Ryan Cooper in P4, Monte Carlos in P3. Outside the points in race 1, seems to be on the podium in race 2 so far. Ryan Cooper's in P4, RLD in P2. D2 leads around here, as far as I remember it correctly, D2 was in a decent position in the previous races qualifying as well, but couldn't get it maybe as good of a race to the vote for Allied Racing. Team he is racing for RLD. Try and get the job done. Monte Carlos, teammates of C. Jones as well. Where is C. Jones actually? He's down in P13, and his livery has just loaded this time around, so I'm not sure whether that's a replay file issue or what kind of an issue that is, but some liveries have not loaded up. But Numpty in P11, P10 for Lizandro, P9 for GT at the moment, and Plenty in P8 as we move on to our championship fight. This is very crucial, because GT, by all means, needs to finish ahead of Plenty, and he will be trying to finish ahead of Plenty. But look at that then, so these two drivers, both who have won races left, right and centre throughout the season, along with a lot of other talented and brilliant drivers as well. But it all comes down to this. It is these last few moments. It is these last race of the season. He goes absolutely wide as Plenty. That might just allow Gino to get past him. Not just yet. Obviously a lot remains in this race. Both the drivers are on a set of medium compound tyres, with Lizandro right behind them, who's on a set of soft compound tyres. The final 3 position in the points they are as well in this race, as there's a yellow flag. Somebody has came off ahead. Meanwhile, Plenty is just behind his teammate Smoke now, who might have just came off though. Not quite sure, because Smoke was up the order, that's for sure, but he might not be, in fact, because Page was there as well. Kane in P5, and top 4 was eventually the same with Ryan Cooper and RLD are already fighting for it, and through the main straight they both are heading towards turn 1. What has happened there? Alright, RLD has came in the pit lane, and that is interesting. So 16 lap race around here, Fuji, and already at the end of lap 4 into lap 5, these are soft tire runners are in the pits, need to, and Plenty, meanwhile, Plenty and GT, not Plenty was some other driver into the pits, but there we go, then our championship drivers are already and still out on track. Obviously being on a set of mediums would help in a way that, you know, obviously definitely you can go longer, you can do more laps, and 25-minute races, which 19 laps were done at Laguna Seca, and 16 laps will be done here around Fuji International Speedway. Explains the difference between the tracks, and obviously the lap times that would be different from one track to another. 16 laps of racing it is. 4 laps have been done and still 12 more remain. 12 more will remain as we are on lap 5 out of 16. A little bit wide goes Plenty. Will that allow the GT to get past? Not just yet. I know a lot of other fightings are going on. I know a lot of other drivers would like to see. Meanwhile, Monte Carlos is in the lead as our leader's gotten out of the way. They're on a set of softs as well, but they're going another lap and a bit longer than others. Meanwhile, Ryan Cooper might get an opportunity to get past one of these drivers, as it is lap 6 out of 16 so far. There might be an opportunity for Ryan to get past us. We're getting back to our leaders. No overtaking, no progress, just yet. Maybe anytime soon, but that is not happening about right now. Meanwhile, our leaders are at it. Monte Carlos is going to try and get us past Ryan, or in fact Ryan Cooper is going to try and get past Monte Carlos and have him an overtake. Not just yet. So let's see for how long will that be the case, or what exactly will be going on throughout the whole race between these drivers. How good can one do? Because you know it might be the final race of the season, it might be the final dance before season 3, but it's always great to end on a high. It is always absolutely brilliant to end on a high note in a championship fighting season. As we just talk about the championship, GT might have just gotten closer and very closer to the back of Plenty there, which could eventually mean a chance of an overtake, a chance of a move coming up on our championship leader from his rival, from his best rival. Meanwhile, another soft tire runner in the ends of Monte Carlos is into the pit lane, and look at that, the sun is coming down and the headlights are on these cars, which would mean it is getting darker and darker. We might be ending this race at a night time, might be ending this race in complete darkness, and one man who would want to save his evening from being a little bit less darker will be GT, because he needs to make an overtake. He needs to get the speed, because at this point GT takes it hands down. So P5, that would mean 10 points, that would make it 20 points. That'll be about 50 points lead, and then add the 16 points with 8 plus 8 would be 16. So with that, GT is minusing out about a couple of points, but still not enough. Still, Plenty will take the championship by over almost 40 points. So that is interesting. Definitely to make this round interesting. The double points were awarded, and I think it still makes it interesting. I mean, you can never say never though, because lap 7 out of 16 is out there. We saw how race 1 was. We saw how once GT made a mistake, we thought, alright, that might be over for them. Then Plenty made a mistake, and it kind of evened things out. So we never know. You could be making a mistake of your own, or somebody with the help of somebody, unfortunately, but it is all to play for. Ultimately Smoke and Page are going at both on a set of medium compound tyres. Kane in B2 with Ryan Cooper in the lead of this Fuji race, Fuji International Speedway Race 2. So that 8 out of 16 will be halfway distance at the end of this race, which has not been done just yet. And getting our focus back, and maybe after the pit stops are done, maybe after how it is done. And actually an information, or rather a news we are just getting from our authorized news center, that Lissandro currently finds himself, let's look at him, currently finds himself in P13, but teams have been impressed by his performance. Remember, teams are watching, because everybody's watching about right now. These final 2 races are very crucial before going into the next season. You know that a possible chance to secure a seat for next season is on, and everybody wants that chance to secure a seat for next season. Sandro, as we're just getting our latest news, has managed to secure a seat for next season. Remember, he's a reserve driver filling in for the drivers missing out on this final weekend race. So that is a brilliant news, and that explains how important it is to have a great will-to-will racing, have the consistency that the teams are looking for. You might not be the best of speed stars at the start of your career, at the start of your season, but it's always a chance to improve. It's always an opportunity to get better than the previous time, and that in the end would mean that you get an opportunity to get better. Meanwhile, one man could get an opportunity to get past Will BTT, because these 2 guys are now absolutely closer, and rather ever closer they've been so far this race, and an opportunity could arise soon. It could arise in no time for GT to get past Plenty, because one mistake and GT will take it with both hands. On the same side, one mistake from GT, Plenty would be smiling all around inside that helmet, which he might be doing that just about right now, but still, that smile is not going to be as big as it would be if this race finishes in this order, or at least he finishes ahead of GT. So look at that then, lap 10 out of 16. Time is running out about now. Remember, both of them are on a set of medium compound tyre. They have not pitted in this race just right now, so they will need to pit. Both of them, expect them to come in about right now or later. Meanwhile, we just talked about that. Plenty might have just ran a little bit wide, and that would allow GT to get past him. Does he get past him about right now, though? Not just yet. And it could have been a pretty masterclass of a move, considering the mistake Plenty made, but brilliantly done from Plenty in the end, even recovering out of it. But GT is certainly not making too many aggressive moves as well. He's rather being the calm driver. Maybe at the moment he's just waiting for Plenty to make mistakes. He just wants to make another mistake that he previously made, and really, make him fall in the trap of his own, trying to push a little bit wide, and that trap might be coming very soon, as a couple of drivers on those medium tires might have came into the pit. Meanwhile, for a moment you would have thought GT was going to be through, as Plenty comes into the pit straight away. Slightly made a mistake as well, but then now the job is done. Plenty is into the pits with the GT still staying out, and he's going to lead this one. He's going to lead this race. Page, Nuptinet, D2, Monte Carlos are all in the pits. Ryan Cooper coming out, Kane out as well, along with Wolf Club continuing on with C. Jones out there, Smoke, and Plenty now in P11. Where does Plenty come out? Maybe he'll come out right behind his teammates, and just ahead of RLD, who's in P12, coming out of the pit as well as Andrew at the moment on a set of down in P13. So looking at things about right now. Oh, he goes a little bit wide, and that could have been not good because you know how good of a race you want, because no matter the consistency, pace or speed, if it comes down to the final race, if it comes down to the excitement of this, you need to nail it, because otherwise it could go left or right. Two teammates racing for Highland Farmers as well. Remember, both of them will be fighting Project GT for the Constructors Championship. But so far it is P10 and 11 for these guys. What about GT, our race leader? Does he come into the pits? Yes, he does. And he's straight into the pit lane. He'll have that tyre deficit over plenty, but how good is that going to be? How effective eventually is that going to be is a question of a time. But look at that then. Where is Plenty? He is in P11. He's just behind his teammate about right now. Where does Kane come out? Where does GT come out? And he's out on the pit out about now. Where is going to be Plenty? And Plenty heading towards that what is nearly going to be side by side as GT almost bumps into the back of his teammate. They nearly make contact and GT goes wide. Plenty's going to be through and back ahead of GT. That was a brilliant opportunity for GT to not only overtake Plenty but almost overtake Smoke as well, but he's lost it out. And again, as I said, the mistakes, the championship mistakes will be on, and you would know that that problem is. But GT now, Plenty now would wish for one thing, and that would be for his teammate to let him get past, for his teammate to let him at least overtake or have it easy on him, because the longer Smoke holds Plenty, the better it is for GT. Not that even GT, if GT finishes ahead of Plenty, he's going to be winning the championship, but still a better position, better is going to put that pressure on Plenty, and things could go all wrong. Meanwhile, the two teammates, and look at that, slight bit of a mistake could have been by there by Plenty, because this is brilliant at the end of it. You know, Ryan Cooper leads at the moment ahead of Nitu, but our championship leader down in P6 nearly made another mistake, which could have costed him somewhat of a time, but he's safe, he's enough, he's got enough gap to lead and continue ahead of GT, who's in P6 so far. So now counting on things with these are on lap 13 out of 16 at the moment, with us looking for a best opportunity. Everybody rather looking for an opportunity, but look at this then. Plenty still unable to get past his teammate. He's just unable to make an overtake at the moment on Smoke, and Smoke is not helping him either, because sure he's leading, he's got a big deficit. When it comes down to a championship of your teammate, you might want to help them. Will there be a chance for Plenty to get past? No, in fact not, as he backs out of it about right now, and in the end has to back out of it. So looking at things, I mean, both of these drivers, Plenty and GT, maybe not had one of the best final round in terms of positions, both of them being outside the top 5 still so far. So getting back to the top of the race once more, it is Monte Carlos and Nitu fighting, in fact, which is going to be losing out the position again this time to Monte, with Kane already in P2. Ryan Cooper leads this race here at Fuji International Speedway, and brilliantly at the top of the timing sheets, as going towards the back of the race. Wolfed up in P13, P12 for C. Jones, P11 for Nentino, P10 for Page, and P9 for Lisandro. Back to the points are P8, P7 for GT, and P6 for Plenty. The thing still continues on. The wait still continues on for an overtake and for a bit of a chance for GT to get, or him to move towards towards ahead of Plenty. Will there be a chance for him though, because he's got in closer? He has absolutely got in closer, and around the outside there would be an opportunity for Gino to get past him. Will he get past him though, because that's going to be interesting to see, as Plenty might have just turned a little bit wide, and that no, in fact, will be enough for him to defend, as they're almost going to be heading towards the main straight again on the inside line. GT's going to be through, and GT has been ahead of Plenty. And I would say that we were waiting for race. All race throughout was done, but was it done enough? Maybe not, as Plenty's going to come back at him on the inside line, and around the final corner now. Plenty's going to take that back. Heads it to himself, heads it for his own position, and once more he's back into P6 and still keeping the fight alive, still keeping a bit of hopes alive for Project DT, as they're going to be side by side between the two, still heading towards turn one. Who's going to be late to the brakes? Is it going to be Plenty? Is it going to be GT? It will be Plenty, who brakes a lot later, and back again up to P6, and an overtake is once more done from Plenty, as he gets his position back once more, as not many laps now remain. 2 laps, including this one to the end, lap 15 and lap 16. Both and a set of soft compound tyres. Meanwhile, the double indications are from Monte Carlos, as Nitu is in P4, followed by Smoke in P5, doing a good job for the Highland Farmers as well. I'm not sure whether that's going to be enough for them to get the Champion Constructors title or not. We'll have a look at everything at the end of this race. So look at this one then, ladies and gentlemen. Look at that, Plenty in P6, GT in P7, still continuing on, still keeping the fight between these two. So that, remember, at least it might not help GT in the Drivers' Championship finishing ahead of Plenty, but might help him in the Constructors' Championship, might help his team in the title to win it. There's going to be an opportunity once more, heading towards the final lap of the Grand Prix, final lap of this race. It is going to be side by side once more between these two. Is it going to be GT? Is it going to be Plenty? Who's going to put their brakes later than the other? On the inside line, Plenty's going to be through, and ahead of GT. GT may get another opportunity to get past him around the outside. Plenty's going to be defending this time on the inside line into the next corner. The left-hander, nearly makes a mistake. Does GT? And he does make it, goes very wide, and that would allow eventually Plenty to stay ahead and keep the lead to himself. Our race leader is already into the final sector and continues the lead, and Ryan Cooper is now making his way around the final few corners and having absolute of a blast in these final 2 races. According to my calculations, he should be second in the championship, in the driver's title, and might just pip GT over for the second place, as it is going to be Ryan Cooper, who had a blast in race 1. He's going to come home and be better than everyone and win the race here at race Fuji International Speedway. Kane finished P1 there in race 1, is going to finish P2 in race 2. Monte Carlos on the podium in P3. With, in the end, we have missed something out, because you know what? Plenty is down in P7. With GT in P5, P6 for RLD, Plenty in P7, E2 in P8. Actually, let's not waste this one, as we want to have a look at what exactly happened, because a bit of a mistake that at the moment we were, look at that, so we actually missed out on a lot, because we're in the final lap. Look at this one, because we want to go back. Why did not went back or before or any other battle, but this one needs to be studied. So on board, rather, what's in their car with Plenty we are. Need to win P5 with Plenty in P6 at the moment. Remember, we're all into the final sector now. At least these drivers are. Almost goes into the back of Plenty there on the exit. He's going gentlemen, try and get a better shot, and nearly loses the car, and that would allow GT to get past him, and GT does get past him, or does he though? And he's going to be through, and ahead of Nitu as well now. They're going to be side by side, wheel to wheel between the two, and nearly another mistake comes his way, as they both kick Nitu out of the equation, and Plenty now is forced wide, and GT will get past him, but he's got a penalty. He would also need to slow down to probably in the next penalty zone, or rather the time will be headed to his race finish, but he is slowing down, and it was not enough. It was enough for him to not need it, to be slowing down, and he in the end comes home to finish P5. And a brilliant end to this race, ladies and gentlemen, as well GT in P5, right behind Smoke with Monte Carlos on the podium, RLD in P6 with Plenty in P7, and I think he'd be hoping and at least thanking God that he has had more points lead coming into the final round, because otherwise this could have been very risky at the end of this race. Need to win P8 with Page in P9 at the moment. Ned and Lissandro are going to be side by side, wheel to wheel between the two, and that's a photo finish as Lissandro bimps Ned just at the very end as C. Jones around comes to the grid. To the line will be him, and that'll be the end of it as well, with Wolf Club finished just outside the points in race 1, and he has got damage, as it looks like. Yes, he has. I think his wheel is all the way not holding the way it should be, and eventually, or does he have the damage though, because I can't judge it rather from this angle, but ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be the end of this one as well. Absolutely brilliant and epic racing from all of these drivers around here, and that will be the end, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get back to the results of race 2. Ryan Cooper here at Fuji International Speedway gets the job done in P2. Will be Kane. P3 for Monte Carlos. P4 for Smoke, followed by P5 for GT, as RLD in P6, followed by P7 will be Plenty. P8 for Nitu, P9 for Page, and P10, ladies and gentlemen, will be Lissandro. P11 for Ned, and P12 for C. Jones. P13 for Wolf Club, and that will be the end, ladies and gentlemen. That will be the end. And that is all a season that they all fought for. And in the end, a scrapely finish for Plenty in this race. But that was enough. That did not matter at all, as Plenty, racing for Highland Farmers, will be your champion of Season 2 here at Apex Original Racing, as his points tally ends up being 341 at the end of it. With second place finisher was going to be Ryan Cooper, who actually equals out Plenty's points coming into this race, 327. He finishes over 11 points ahead of GT, who was rather more the driver fighting for the championship. Rather, Ryan Cooper is in P2. P3 for GT. Kane in the end with that second place, and for 1-2 finish in the two races will end up with 291 points ahead of Leo, who'll finish in P5 with 203 points. Matthias GT, who did not attend today, will get just right behind Leo with 182 points to his name. Then just 166 points there are, I believe, and those are going to be going to Monte Carlos. Karaoke Racing, he gets a podium at the end as well, with Smoke Dog and Nitu both in 144 and 127 points. Then all those who've got less points than 100, it is going to be One Parawood, who wasn't attending today, or rather that's going to be Ned, who ends up with 91 points to his name. Rather had the best of his seasons, 36 points in the final round, with a P, where I'm trying to find what they did, but rather can't find them in the top of these timings at least. But then it is 91 points for them, 82
for for one Wood. C Jones in the end racing for Karaoke Racing out there will get about 70 points with the final points scorers will be 44, 36, 6, 6, and 1, which will be at the end. C. Jones, Graham Page, LeBurk, DDR Wade, and Lizandro at the end. With G Dog, Wolf Club, and Nitro Bunny ending the championship. So that's going to be the end, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you all watching enjoyed it. And Project GT, congratulations to them. They are the Constructors Championship as well. Plenty is your Season 2 champion at Apex Racing, and Constructors Championships are Project GT. So congratulations to our champions and to all our drivers who raced throughout the season and who did an amazing job to keep the racing alive, for making this racing action as beautiful as it has been. So thank you so much for watching. Hope you all really enjoyed it. See you soon for season 3 and for a brand new season. It should be fantastic. And hope you all all enjoyed the commentary action. It was myself, Zabi, doing all of that. And that's going to be the end of it then, ladies and gentlemen. It is from all of us here at Apex Racing Originals and myself, Zabe. I'm out. Peace.